Good evening and welcome to the first of two special locker room shows tonight. I am Graham Duthie. We'll be building up to the Portugal-Scotland game in the Nations League at 7:45 today. And then we're doing another show after the show at 10 o'clock to talk about the game. And I hope it's not going to be an absolute disaster. I'm delighted now that Robbie Collins has joined me. Robbie, how are you, mate?
Aye, not bad. How are you?
I'm not too bad, mate. I'm not too bad. I don't know how I'm feeling about this game. I genuinely don't know how I'm feeling about this game, but we'll get into that shortly. We've got a few comments already on YouTube. So Paul Donaldson won't be able to watch the show, but I'm in Lisbon and I'm going to the game. First ever Scotland away match for me. I hope it's a good game, Paul. Flew out yesterday morning. Weather's been great. 25 degrees and sunny. I wish it was like that here in Penicuik. It's been chucking it down all day. Not expecting too much tonight, but if we can manage a draw, that would be a fantastic result. Good stuff. MC, good to see you. Liverpool, good stuff. You're in as well. All right, Liverpool, hope you're all well. So, yeah, we're going to talk about the build-up to the Scotland game. I've got my laptop on to try and get the team news around about just after 6:30, so we'll see what happens. I think Reagan's going to join us very shortly as well. So, we're going into this game with 1 win in 14. Robbie, how are you feeling ahead of this game? Because I'm not going to lie, I'm worried.
Yeah, I think that's the right way to put it. I mean, look, whenever it's game day, you're always excited to get going. I mean, look, if you look at the calibre players that we're playing, Loris, Ronaldo, Bruno Fernandes, Leal, that type of player, it's always exciting. But if you look at the Scotland team, we are not able to cope with that type of player, and that's where the worry comes. You know, if Grant Hanley is in that starting 11, we are really worried that that attacking threat for Portugal will destroy that defence. So I'm excited, but also nervous for the game.
In terms of team selection, it's something that I spoke about in a different podcast earlier. Now, I would like to see Ben Doak start. I wouldn't mind seeing Ryan Gault start, something a bit different. What are you hoping for when that team news comes out in around about half an hour or so?
I think we need Morgan. I think he should be one that's playing. I think Ryan Gold should probably be in there as well. I'd expect Ben Doak as well, but I did see Steve Clark was talking about protecting Doak. We need to be careful with using him. So there's definitely going to be a few interesting selections, I hope, anyway. I don't think he can start Dykes after the last game against Poland because that was quite a brutal performance. But I think if you're looking at the attacking options, I think you've got to play Shankland.
Good evening to HMFC fan 07. What's up, Graham? Not too bad. We're just building up. I was going to say looking forward to the game, but I think that's the wrong word. Looking ahead is probably better. We talked on Thursday about Grant Hanley, and I'd be disappointed if he's still in the lineup. But I just have a feeling that Steve Clark will do it, and I think he'll play 5 at the back. I think it'll be 5-4-1, and I can see Grant Hanley still starting, which to me, and probably yourself as well, would be a massive mistake. I would rather start Ryan Porteous or even John Souttar over Hanley.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think I'd honestly start Porteous. I think he's a very, very good defender. But it wouldn't surprise me if Hanley was starting and we did play that 5 back because although, you know, we always spoke about during the Euros changing it to the 4 back and, you know, switching the system for Clark, in games like this, you can't go to attacking and too open because you will just get ripped apart. So I can understand why you may play the 5 back tonight.
Good evening to Taylor Cashman. Same lineup, only change will be Hanley out for Porteous or Scott McKenna to come in. I think Scott McKenna did start on Thursday though. And good evening to Sean McNeil as well. Hope you're well, pal. In terms of the goalkeeping situation, now I listened to another podcast yesterday and they were talking about the goalkeeping situation, number 1 position. They were saying that Angus Gunn shouldn't be number 1 and he's made a few mistakes, which I do agree with. Now, I think on Thursday, 2 of the goals, they were talking about the fact that he could have saved goal number 1 and 3. The third one I agree with. The penalty wasn't well struck. It goes under him. I think he should save it. The first goal, I don't think that's on him. Would you still be playing Angus Gunn as number 1, or would you be changing it and maybe putting Xander Clark in there?
I mean, it's interesting because if you look at every goalkeeper that Scotland have available, I mean, you look at Gunn, he's made a mistake against Poland, undoubtedly. For the first goal, I agree. I don't think he can do much about it, in my opinion, but the penalty, the second one, he should definitely be saving it. But if we look at the other goalkeepers, I mean, you've got John McCratton, who I don't know if you managed to see the highlights of Dundee St Mirren, but it was a bit poor for the Lasagna's goal, the first goal. And then you look at Xander Clark, I mean, he's been sort of dropped out the Hearts team after that mistake he made as well. So every goalkeeper Scotland have made mistakes, and I think if you're Steve Clark, he's probably will go gun, but I can understand, if it does pick maybe Alexander Clark or John McCartan. I just don't see McCartan getting minutes, unfortunately, tonight, but we can hope.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Hashbury Stumble says 4-2-3-1. Taylor Cashman says 4-4-2. HMOC Fan 07 says Gunn, Ralston, Hanley, McKenna, Porteous, Robertson, Gilmore, McLean, McGinn, McTominay, Dykes. That'll be the lineup. I'd change McLean for Christie, Dykes for Shankland, and Ralston for Johnston or Forrest. See, this is the thing as well. Obviously, I'm a massive Lawrence Shankland fan, but if you're going on form, you're not going to start Shankland because he's not started the season well, and that's not all on him. Stephen Naismith has changed the system. He's playing him in a deeper role. Shankland last season, after 7 games, has scored 5 goals. After 7 games this season, he's got none. So I don't really blame Shankland for that. But if you're basing it on form, as much as I hate to say it, then Shankland doesn't start.
I mean, surely it's got to be Tommy Conway based on form. I think he's played every game for is it Bristol City? Yeah. But I mean, I think someone was saying on the show on Friday that Dykes has only played about 50 minutes of league football. So if we're going off a form, I mean, it really should be Conway. But I just have that feeling against a Portuguese defence that have got the likes of Diaz and stuff. He probably will opt for the bigger option in Dykes just to try and hold the ball up. But I think I agree with your point. I don't think Shankland should start, but for me, I'd probably start Conway, to be honest.
Sandy says 5-4-1. A lot of comments here, which is always good. Taylor Cashman, Dykes and Shankland may as well try something different. We know it's going to be a tough test anyway. Very true. 4-4-2. He's still the best striker we've got. Could also play Conway. Yeah, again, I don't disagree with that. I still think on form, Shankland's still a cracking striker. But again, we know what's going to happen after the game. There'll be a lot of talk about should Steve Clark go, should he stay. I am very much still in the Steve Clark in camp because I've said it before. He's still our most successful manager since Craig Brown. He's taken us to 2 Euros. He's got us out of 2 Nations League campaigns, which is why we're in Group A, which is a really difficult group. But again, you're going to get that. I still believe that Steve Clark's the right man. Now, I don't know about you, Robbie, but do you still think that even no matter what happens tonight, I think we're all expecting a defeat, but do you still think Steve Clark's the right man?
I mean, look, after the Euros, I think everybody was a bit caught up in the moment. Obviously considering that very late goal, I was one that did get caught up in it. I think I said at the time I probably wanted Clark to go, but I did say as well, if you ask Clark, is it going to change anything, and he's going to, then I'm more than happy to keep him around. And against Poland, I'll give him his credit. He did change it. They changed the system, and you know what? I think although the first half wasn't particularly great, the second half showed a lot of fight and promise. So there was a few positives to take for that, but I probably would keep Clark in. I mean, he spoke about wanting to try and qualify for the World Cup, but I think he's got that chance. He deserves to try and qualify, so I'm more than happy to keep him around. And also, I would ask the question: anybody who's Clark out, I mean, who do you want to get in? Because there's not many options right now. So the one question I would ask the people that are Clark out is: who do you want in?
A lot of folk are saying David Moyes. I mean, is that route you go down? Because again, a lot of folk have said that David Moyes' football is not the best, and I agree with it. It's may not the best. Would David Moyes be an option?
I mean, Moyes can get wins, but we know that. I mean, you just need to look at West Ham's Conference League campaign. The way he sets up, it is very. Some of it is very Steve Clark-like, but he is a very defensive manager, so it would be interesting to see what he done with a Scotland team.
HMFC fan says, for me, him staying or going would be decided by the Croatia game at home. See, I still don't think even that will change anything, to be honest. We need to defend better and hold. Yeah, that's the thing. If you look at the goals we're conceding, every goal we're losing is a mistake. Grant Hanley, I don't know what he's doing on Thursday. The penalty by Ralston, even the first goal, if you look at it, Kenny McLean gives the ball away in a daft position. Now, Billy Gilmore's wanting the ball, but he doesn't play it in front of him. It's mistakes. Even go back to the Euros. We lost 7 goals, and I think every one of them was a mistake by us. Now, we have to defend better against Portugal, because you just rhymed off the names earlier. Ronaldo, Leao, Bruno Fernandes, Bernardo Silva, Diogo Jota. Honestly, if we make mistakes against these guys, they're going to take a lot of goals off us, and that is a real concern.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, look, I struggle to find where these players make mistakes, and we always spoke about it, as the experienced players that seem to be doing it more often. I don't know if that's because maybe there's more expectation on the experienced players not to make mistakes, whereas, if you get a younger guy making a mistake, you can go, he can learn through that and get better. But it seems the same everywhere in Scotland. I mean, we said it, look at Gogic and the Conference League for us, one mistake for him, and that we found ourselves out. So mistakes happen all over in Scotland. It just seems it's only in Scotland that these mistakes seem to happen. But that Portuguese team is scary, and if we make one or two mistakes, that I fear for the scoring because it could grow rapidly.
The thought of Ronaldo against Grant Hanley, I'm not going to lie, it gives me absolute nightmares, to be honest, if I see Hanley in that team sheet. Hearts, Scotland being creators of our own downfall. Yeah, too many defensive mistakes. Another one as well is, and again, this has been talked about a lot as well, Anthony Ralston at right back. Now, let's be honest. If Aaron Hickey or Nathan Patterson was fit, Ralston wouldn't start. But I actually thought Ralston's been quite solid. Yes, he made the mistake on Thursday, but that happens. But after that, I thought he was quite solid. Even the Euros, he makes a mistake against Switzerland. But again, anyone else doesn't score that goal. But it's on Shaqiri's left foot. It's a cracking strike, but we might go away with that with anyone else. I don't really think Ralston's done a lot wrong. So would you still be keeping Ralston at right back? Or, as a few folk have said, would you give Max Johnson a chance tonight, even though it's against Portugal?
I think you've got to stick with Ralston. I mean, look, when they came in for the Euros, everybody was a bit doubtful with him. But, apart from looking nervy in the opening game, and look, that was another team like Germany, they've got such good attacking threat that it's understandable that the whole team was sort of off that day. I still think the scoreline, was a bit high for us, but I don't think Ralston's been that bad. I actually thought against Poland, I barred, the mistake for the penalty. I thought it was fine. I don't think he put a foot wrong, to be honest. So I'm more than happy to keep Ralston in, but I'd still like to see Max Johnson get some minutes. I mean, it's the whole point Steve Clark called him up. You look at these guys like Gold and Morgan who've flown over to America. There's no point in just sitting them on the bench for 2 games. Get them on and give them some minutes. So I think I'd start with Ralston, but it wouldn't surprise me if they gave Max Johnson some minutes.
NC says we need to keep CR7, Bernardo and Bruno marked, or it's going to be harder. It's going to be hard to attack with Ruben Diaz and Cancelo. I mean, it's honestly, it's just the names you rhyme off that it's like, oh my word, we're like going into the lion's den here. I mean, trying to keep guys like Ronaldo and that marked is very difficult because they are such quality players. I mean, Robbie, how do you mark these guys? How do you mark Ronaldo? I know he's getting older, but how do you mark a guy like that?
Yeah, I mean, it is pretty difficult to mark a guy like Ronaldo. He just, but he can drift anywhere, cross the front three, he can play anywhere and just find space. So it's going to be a difficult task for the Scotland defence and the midfield as well. I think if you look at the defensive midfielders that Clark will maybe pick, if he does pick, the likes of McTominay, who I'm sure will drop back a bit more defensively, maybe Billy Gilmore, they've got a big job in their hands to try and keep that Portuguese midfield and attack quiet tonight. So it's going to be a tough task.
Taylor Cashman, my starting 11, Gunn, Ralston, Porteous, McKenna, Robbo, Gilmore, McTominay, McGinn, Morgan, Shanklin, Dykes. There's no way he's going to play 2 up front tonight, not against Portugal. Delighted to be joined by the one and only Mr. Regan Stevenson. Regan, how are you, mate?
Doing good, Graham. Well, I don't know if I'll be doing good in 2 hours' time because at this point, Graham, I kind of wish we were back down in Group B. When I seen the Ireland and England game yesterday, I'm thinking that's where we should probably be, you know what I mean? Because I do expect Portugal to probably get a down tonight, but I'm trying to be positive, Graham. I think we could possibly get a draw if we have not got Grant Hanley playing. I know you've got a few expletives from, but we'll use that for a different time of the show.
Yeah, I mean, the team you should be out in about half an hour or so. I do not want to see Grant Hanley in that lineup. I'm sorry. I just don't want to see him in it. Hashbury Stumble says Ronaldo 900 up. HMFC fan, how Hanley gets called up over Kingsley is criminal. Yeah, I would have Stephen Kingsley in there, I'm going to be honest.
I think if Hanley's playing, Graham, I think we can we wave bye to any sort of positive results because if he's struggling, because I looked at the pyramids in the back, right, and see the actual Polish striker, he's not going anywhere. He's going to play, so he's not just going towards the goal. He's going towards out the play. So he's not anticipating that Hanley would do something stupid, but it's just, to me, it's just Scotland and Steve Clark picking his favourites, because I don't think he's played the last 4 or 5 matches for Norwich either. So I don't know why Steve Clark thought, oh, yeah, that's a great idea to throw him into the Nations League, but he's not playing for his club.
Thing is, Hanley does 2 things wrong. 1, makes a challenge, and 2, goes with his wrong foot. I don't know why he does that. I couldn't understand what he was doing there.
I noticed with Ralston's penalty as well, he went with the wrong foot as well. It just seemed dead weird for that penalty as well. I mean, he went in with his right when he should have just went in left, and I think if he went in with his left, he had a better chance of getting the ball. So it's just little mistakes like that can really cost you, I guess.
Yeah. HMFC fan says Portugal squad has a world-class player for every position, and that is the big worry.
So does Scotland. No,
KG, Shankland shouldn't get anywhere near the starting 11. He's been poor this season, and I've just basically said the same thing. I mean, I was saying this earlier on as well, Reagan, and I put this on one of my other, one of my other contents as well. Now, if you look at the squad, the 23-man squad on Thursday, only 6 of that squad play in Scotland, and 2 of them are goalkeepers, Xander Clark and John McCracken. I think that's a poor indictment of Scottish football, that we've only got 6 players playing in Scotland that are actually in the Scotland squad. Everyone else is either playing in England or abroad.
Well, it was actually funny, Graham, because I don't know if you remember, but 5 years ago when Steve Clark took charge, I'll play a bit of trivia with you two then. Who did Steve Clark play up front? His very first game.
This is something I've always said for years. We don't have a lot of...
Who did he play up front, Graham? I'm playing trivia with you.
Was it Stephen Naismith or Ollie McBurney or something?
No. I would have said maybe bluntly. No.
Who was it?
Eamon Brophy.
Do you know, that was the next one on my list as well. I was going to say that next.
Because that was my whole point there. My whole point was that maybe that was just because he was just off of the back of playing in the Scottish Premier League. But now he's been 5 years away from it. Maybe he's thinking, well, it's not that good when I take a look at it. Because the only matches that he seems to attend is Celtic or Rangers matches, and I don't really know who he's looking at when he's watching Celtic or Rangers matches, because there's nobody there that really needs to look at. Because
Marco Hara.
That is probably true, but I mean, Tony Ralston, he can look at Tony for the bench because he's not playing much, and Greg Taylor, I mean, he does a great job for Celtic, but since when is he going to play left back for Scotland? So I think you've got a point there, Graham, in terms of that he should be looking more. But then I would ask you the same question: who would you throw in there? I would even go with left field, Graham, and say I would throw the guy with Dundee, the striker.
Simon Murray.
Simon Murray.
I mean, the thing is, though, he's 32. He's got no international football. You're really going to chuck him in there? I don't think he would do it.
No, Graham, I didn't know he was that old, but I think the guy's a good player. He scored something about 19 goals. Scored something with 19 goals last season for Ross County, and they were in the playoff position. I think the guy's a great player, honestly. I remember he scored a cracker against Rangers when Neil Lennon was the manager for Hibs. He scored a cracker there as well. So, I think we do need to throw more players in for the Scottish leagues. But no, I didn't realise he was 32. I'm sorry about that.
I mean, Robbie, I posted this in the group chat yesterday. If you look at the last Scotland team that faced Portugal in 2018, the squad's not changed that much. We lost 3-1. Stephen Naismith scored the goal. It was a front two of Naismith and McBurney, and Graham Shinney was on the bench.
Oh my God.
It may well have been his last international appearance. The squad's not changed that much in 6 years.
It's not, but hearing the sort of names is brutal. I mean, look, it's going to be difficult tonight. There's no doubt about that. I think in terms of, Steve Clark maybe getting into the Scottish League, I think Steve Clark should almost open down it. Look, if we get, say we did, get rid of Clark and bring in somebody like Moyes, I don't think another manager's going to dip into the Scottish League and bring up players like that. I think, people that are complaining about that, you're going to be complaining for a while, because I just think there's such a standard there between the likes of the Championship and the Premier League and our league that I don't think any manager's even going to take a sniff at it. I mean, if you look at the run of form that Murray had, he still couldn't get a call up, so that shows you how well you need to play to even be considered big clock. I think O'Hara had a decent run last season. I mean, even he wasn't getting considered. So I think in these type of players that are playing in this league, I think some of them can be good enough. I mean, you look at Shanklin, he's obviously up there, but some of them I just feel like are getting sort of chucked away because they do play in Scotland.
I think the big one for me, Graham, is a guy from Motherwell. I just think he's 17 years old. He's a great midfield player. You know, I said that to Robbie last week when we were on for 2 hours, and you commented. I mean, see, the thing is, Spain brought in the 17-year-old is it Lamine Yamal for Spain. They brought him in. He I wouldn't say single-handedly won them the Euros, but it was a big reason why. And it's that kind of skepticism and negativity that we tend to go on and go, but we need to give these guys 2 or 3 years to bed in and see how it goes. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's just about throwing these guys in.
NC says, how do you think it's going to be with one of the best international teams in the world? We have to be 5 at the back or it's going to be harder than it is. I think it will be 5 at the back. Ashbury Stumble says, not enough domestic players in the SPL, which I've said as well. HMFC fan says, 10 minutes until team news. I asked Robbie this earlier on, Reagan. I'll ask you the same question. When that team news comes out in about 10 minutes or so, what are you hoping to see?
No Grant Hanley would be a good start.
That's what we're all saying.
No Angus Gunn would be a good start as well. I just don't like Angus Gunn. I don't know what it is, Graham. I just don't really like the guy. I don't rate him either. It's just, I don't know. He's just not a good goalie.
I will say, seeing the goalkeeper department, there was the under-21 player Slicken as his name. I thought he was quite good in the under-21s when I watched the highlights versus Spain. So, I mean, maybe he could find his way in the squad soon.
What happened to that guy plays for Dundee? Is it Leo Cameron as well? Is he not a good player that we could be looking at for the future years?
Yeah,
potential.
I think it once. Yeah. But again, this is the thing, though. I mean, Steve Clarke, we've already said he's very loyal to certain players, i.e., Grant Hanley and stuff. I don't think he's going to call up a lot of youngsters. Now, I think he should. Personally, I would love to see Ben Doak starting tonight. He's got something different. He's got pace to burn. He's a really good player. I would love to see him play. I'd love to see the likes of Ryan Gauld get a chance, but I don't think he'll start.
Yeah, it would just be the perfect homecoming for Ryan Gauld, you know, just to show the Portuguese what they've been missing for the last couple of years when he's been in Canada, freezing himself in the snow and all that, but they've been in the sun. But I mean, I just want a fresh approach, Graham. I would even like to see that guy from Austria, Max Johnson, as well. I just want something different. I'm just fed up with seeing the same names, Hanley and Scott McKenna and all these guys. And then we had McBurney last night saying on a podcast that he's looking to get back in because he's playing in the Spanish top flight. You know, I'm fed up with you people. I want a fresh approach. You know, I want to see. You know, not that I'm in charge of the SFA, but I want to see new players be blooded in, and then we can be excited about going. Because now, Graham, I'm of the opinion now that Steve Clarke should be sacked. I'm still of that opinion. I was of that opinion when me and you were angry after the European games, and I'm still of that opinion. I still do think he should be sacked.
If McBurney gets back in the Scotland team, I'll give up.
Is there anything that can change that viewpoint, Reagan, of Steve Clarke?
Well, for me, Graham, I just think he's not doing things that Scotland fans can see themselves. You know, he's not changing the game, and people can say, "Well, he changed the game with 20 minutes to go and stuff." But at the end of the day, Graham, he's still playing his pals. He's still playing Grant Hanley. He's still playing Kenny. You know what I mean? These are players that are not great for Scotland. We need to get a fresh approach and well, like Robert was saying, I don't think David Moyes would be that fresh approach because he's spent all his time down at Preston, down at Everton, down at West Ham. He probably doesn't watch Scotland or watch Scottish football because you know what it's like, Robbie. See, like people like David Moyes. A lot of these guys watch like Premier League football, and that's it. They don't really watch Scottish football apart from when it's Celtic in a cup final or Rangers in a cup final. Again, maybe against Hearts or against Rangers, they don't really tune in and go, oh, I'm going to go and watch St Mirren versus Ross County to see who I can see.
Yeah, I mean, I remember during the Euros watching the coverage and Moyes was on it, and I don't think there was many times that Moyes actually spoke about any of the domestic players. He rambles on about the Premier League quality and the Championship and stuff, and it just seems like a lot of people are really just disinterested in this league as a whole, and that's no good for the future of the country. So I'd be interested to see who we get in this next Scotland manager. And Regan, I want to ask you, you said about still being Clark out. Who would you want in this next Scotland manager?
Well, I want somebody that plays really good football. You know, not that I'm saying this guy would be revolutionary, but the guy at Airdrie's playing good football. I just want somebody that we can really buy into as a nation. I'm sick of all this negative tactics and putting men behind the ball and hoping for the best. See if we're going to get beat, we're going to get beat. But see if we try our best and we play good football and we pay our money, we can say that's great. You know what I mean? I'll give you an example. See Monday night there, I didn't bother going. You know, I had 2 tickets to go. I said no, I'm not going to bother. Because I'm fed up watching it. Because it's the same every week. Everybody says, "Oh, surely Clark's going to change his mind this time. He's going to bring Shanklin on. He's going to bring this guy on." He never ever does it. He never tries to change anything until something goes wrong, and then he changes it. It was the same with Neil Lennon. That's why I got fed up with Neil Lennon because Neil Lennon only changed things when things were going wrong. He was never good in-game management. I want to ask you guys a question as well. Do you guys think we really fell off a cliff after after the Spain match away from home? Because everything was going well then, but then ever since we kind of lost that game, which everybody expected us to lose, but I think it's because Scott McTominay scored that game, right? He scored to make it 1-0. Then it got ruled out because of VAR, because supposedly the goalkeeper was challenged. But the goalkeeper seen the ball get in, and he was just angry with his centre backs. So clearly he thought it was a goal. But I just feel like since that moment we've really went backwards.
I mean,
that first.
I mean, I don't know what it seems to be right now with Scotland. We seem to have lost a good bit of confidence. And I remember the last Scotland game I went to was the Northern Ireland one where we lost 1-0. And I just remember watching that game and I was thinking, what has happened to this team? We always showed, even though some people argue that Steve Clark's play was negative, I mean, in some of these games, especially the friendlies, we were still showing dominance and fight to go on and win the games. But I mean, in a performance like that where I mean, I even take the Gibraltar one as well, where we won 2-0. We just look so
Oh,
flat in these
terrible
kind of
as well.
games. Eh?
I'm saying we're terrible against Gibraltar as well.
That's my point. We just look so negative and so flat and deflated. I don't know what's going on with Scotland right now, but there just seems, I'm sure if you ask Steve Clark, he'd say there's a lot of positivity inside the dressing room and stuff, but for the outside looking in, it all just looks so negative and down on confidence right now. So I don't know what the issue seems to be, but there is definitely something there.
And I think I mean, I've got a great deal of credit in the bank for Steve Clark. I think he did I've been a biggest backer of Steve Clark. I mean, people were saying when we were going through a bad run of spell a couple of years ago, we should get rid of him because he only qualified through the back door for the Nations League. And I was saying, and then we went on to do well in the qualifiers. But I think it's the European Championships have really tipped me over the edge, Graham, because I just feel like that was a great opportunity. I mean, look at the two teams that we played. We played Switzerland and we played Hungary. And the two games we were so negative. We sat back and we did nothing. And then the Hungary game, if we'd have got through, if we'd have scored a goal, we'd have got through that game. The only time we tried to get through was the last 2 minutes, and that was when Stuart Armstrong was going through. And that's all Steve Clark used. It was the referee's fault. It's for Argentina. It's nothing to do with the referee. It's because of your tactics through the full 90 minutes.
I think if you look at forget the Germany game because that was a disaster. But I think if you look at the Switzerland and Hungary game, Switzerland we actually played quite well, and it was a mistake from Ralston. But like I said to Robbie earlier, if that falls to anybody at Shaqiri on his left foot, that's not going on. We may win the game 1-0. The Hungary game was a disappointment for me because I thought that was the game that we should have won, but we didn't do enough. We had a lot of possession but created very little. Again, I think the results were a little bit too late. We just didn't do enough. And I think I heard a couple of different podcasts a couple of days ago talking about the Euros, and they said Scotland turned up, but they didn't compete. And I would kind of agree with that. But then I'll ask you the question on the back of this, guys. Starting with you, Reagan. Where do you think Scotland's ceiling should be? So, for example, we qualify for tournaments. So we qualify for the last 2 tournaments, great. But then when we get there, what should a team like Scotland be doing?
Well, we want to be the bride and not the bridesmaid, because I think that a lot of the time we just happy to be there. Everybody's got a button at the back garden, and we go, "Oh, we're here," But that shouldn't be our ambition just to get there, because I know people say, "Well, we're a small country, we're doing our best in that," but this was a great opportunity, Graham, and especially for the World Cup as well. It's a great opportunity for us to make a mark, and it's like I think it's more. There's more opportunity now for you to get out. There was 3 teams out of every group went through last time, so and I think it's the same for the World Cup as well. So there's more places available. So we need to take advantage of these times and stop saying, "Oh, we're just happy to be there." No, I want to go there and I want to try and get to the last 16, the quarterfinals. Then see when we get to the quarterfinals, then we can start to go, right, that's a brilliant tournament. Now can we go one step further? Can we try and do something else?
Robbie, what do you think Scotland's ceiling should be?
Let me just say quickly, there's a certain number 5 defender that nobody wanted to see in tonight's starting 11.
No, you're
I knew
joking, Robbie, you're joking.
I knew he was going to do.
That means I'm going to need to listen to Graham at 10:05 and go, how did Glenn Hanley get rid of that? Oh my God.
Be man of the match.
You'll know me. I'm absolutely. Graham, I'm sorry, I'm seeing it live on air. Steve Clark needs to go. I'm saying it again, he needs to go.
I've not got the team news up. What's the rest of the team? Has anyone got it? Post it in the chat if you've got it. Because I'm trying to find it, I can't find it.
I think Robbie's got some inside knowledge.
No, the wee notification popped up on my phone there. I can't see the full team. I just seen Grant Hanley's big face pop up my screen, so that was fun.
I'll go and find it for you right now, Graham.
So, Robbie, I'll go back to my other point before you get the team news up. What do you think Scotland's ceiling should be?
Look, I'm not going to be wanting to come on here and say, the sky's the limit, because we do have limits in the team, definitely. But
Graham, I've got the team here, Graham.
Right, go for
it. Angus, Ralston, Robertson, McTominay, Grant Hanley, Scott McKenna, John McGinn, Billy, Dykes, Ryan Christie, and McLean. So it's the same start lineup as the other night.
Shocking. Absolute shocker. That's terrible.
How are you not freshening that team up? Seriously, how can you not freshen that team up?
That is horrid.
I genuinely thought he would have made a couple of changes to that team, but I'm really surprised he's not changed anything.
I'm honestly flabbergasted, Graham. I really am. Like anybody in their granny watching that game the other night says, right, we need to freshen this team up. And I'm not being disrespectful to Grant Hanley, but surely must say, right, for the benefit of him, we'll take him out. I mean,
Robbie, what does that say? I'll get Reagan's thoughts on this in a minute. What does that say for the likes of John Souttar or the likes of Ryan Porteous that Grant Hanley's made a massive mistake on Thursday. It's cost us the game. We could have got a point out of the game. Now, I'm not saying it's a great result, but a point from being 2-0 down is not an absolute disaster. What does it say then to guys like John Souttar and Ryan Porteous?
Oh. It's Graham there. Hello.
He's away. I think he was
Oh,
saying.
man,
I think he's saying what in terms of Ryan Porteous and that. What do you make of him? Like no being in then?
Look, I think if you're under Clark or Ryan Porteous, that's the way of Steve Clark telling you might as well just go on the first flight back home to Scotland, because they've turned up after that Poland performance, and it was a shocker, especially in the first half. And Grant Hanley obviously makes a mistake, but you know, you look at the rest of that team, and it's got to be freshened up. I just think if you're the Porteous or the Xander Clarks of the world, you've got to be furious with Steve Clark, because inside your head you're thinking, what do I need to do to get into this team? And now the team's come out. I think honestly, Steve Clark and his backroom staff are the only members at Scotland that think Dyche should have started that game again, or Hanley, because to me, you know, look, Clark will probably know more about football than I'll ever know, but if, it doesn't take a genius to look at that game and go, that something needs to change.
Yeah, Robbie, I'm just really flabbergasted as to why he's stuck with the same 11. I know Graham was saying there about Portes and people like that, but I just feel like he's just making a run for his own back, Robbie Drexler.
I think so. Look, I'm starting to lean more towards the Clark out stage at this point. I mean, this is ridiculous. We said it against Poland that if it doesn't change things up and we get a battering tonight, are we actually going to have a good chance of beating Croatia or qualifying for the World Cup? Because to me, this lineup's not capable of that. And Graham was asking me before the team lineups about, you know, where the limit is for Scotland. And again, I'm not going to say sky's the limit, but we need to be realistic here. We should be getting to the World Cup. I don't care what anyone says. We have players in this team, and we have players that have not been selected that are more than capable enough of getting us to a World Cup. You just need to look at your Albanians and how they done during the Euros. But we can get out the group stage at these tournaments. The Albanians and that are putting up the fights, and we're not. So I'm just so I don't know, that lineup's really played with my head, because I can't believe he's not changed anything.
Sorry, I lost my connection, died there. I think it was Steve Clark cut it out. But what was your thoughts there, Robbie, on the fact that what I just mentioned a minute ago? I mean, if you're John Porteous after that mistake from Hanley, what are you thinking that he's still starting?
Yeah, as I said, if you're any of the players, you've got to be thinking Steve Clark's telling you to go on the first flight back into Scotland, because the fact that Hanley can make that type of mistake and he's not got to the team is beyond me. I think if you even look at the goalkeeper situation, and again, I'm not blaming Guns for the first goal. I don't think he can do anything about it, but it makes, you know, that I hate calling it a mistake on penalties, because penalties are really hard to save at the best of times. I think he should do better, but if you're Xander Clark, you've got to be looking at that and going, McCracken even, how am I not getting a shot in the starting 11? You know, I know Clark's been sort of thrown out the Hearts team, if you will, the last few weeks for Gordon, but you've got to be asking yourself inside your head, what do I need to do to get in this team?
HMRC fan says it's an absolute disgrace for a Scotland manager. I couldn't care what he's done before. He needs to go, far too stubborn. I mean, Reagan, I'll be honest, mate, I'm very surprised he's not changed anything and kept the same team. Now, is that a case of, okay, they were decent on Thursday, they were close to getting a point, they managed to turn it round? Is that a case of, right, I'm going to stick with the same team that they were close to getting a result on Thursday, so let's go again? But in the back of my head, and just what I said to Robbie there, I don't understand who Grant Hanley's still starting after that massive mistake on Thursday.
Yeah, Graham, I'm just I'm fed up now. You know, I've been a big backer of Steve Clark. I've tried to back him as much as I can, Graham, but this is now it's it's raising its ugly head now. It needs to go. You know, I mean, I'm no one for calling somebody out, but I just feel like, you know, it's just boring. It's the same lineup as the other night. You know, like you said, what's that message does that send out to Porteous that he's only made one bad mistake his full Scotland career? Now, I'm not saying right bad tackle that he done against Germany was a bad tackle, but you're never going to forgive the guy for that, or you're going to just play Grant Hanley because he's your pal, and because Graham, Shane Duffy and Grant Hanley have not played. I've not played for a few games now under that manager, so clearly the manager doesn't fancy him down there. So I just don't get it how. He's playing for Scotland, but then by the time Saturday comes to him, he'll be on the bench again, or he'll not even be stripped.
Robbie, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and hoping for a different result.
Yeah.
This for me smacks of. I know we talk about the fact that Steve Clarke's very loyal, and I suppose if you guys like Grant Hanley and Kenny McLean, you're thinking, "Thanks, Gaffer, another chance." But if I'm a member of that squad, if I'm sitting on the bench, if I'm a Ryan Gold, for example, looking at that thinking, these guys have just made massive, massive mistakes. They're not on form. Now, the biggest one for me, again, we spoke about on Thursday, and I think John McGinn's a cracking player. Absolutely brilliant player. But if you're basing it on form right now, you're not picking John McGinn because he's been poor for Scotland. Yet again, he's still starting. Kenny McLean gave the ball away for the first goal on Thursday. I don't think he's been great. But again, he's still starting. It doesn't really... I don't think it's great if you're a player on that bench thinking, well, wait a minute, they're still starting. I've done nothing wrong. I just don't get the mindset of that.
Yeah, I mean, Steve Clarke seems to be driving the whole of Scotland insane right now with that team selection. I'm just so confused, and I don't get how he's not changing it. If you're Brian Gold and Lewis Morgan and you've flown over from America now, bear in mind when you're flying for America, it's not just a simple flight. You need to change your sleep routine. You get into, obviously the time zone better, and then you're flying over to Portugal as well. That's a couple of flights in the space of a week. So for them type of guys to make that sort of adjustment and then only play about 30 minutes in total, if even that, on the pitch. If you're any of the two, you're probably not going to. But I'd love to see them go to Clark. But what's happening here? We are making these sort of adjustments, coming over, needing to change our time zones just to sit on the bench for most of the game. But actually, what I asked you guys, and I forgot the question that's been out in my head right now, but it'll come back to me at some point. But if I was in it, I'd be saying to Clark, look, what's going on here?
And I think as well, Graham, that you need to remember that Robbie makes a good point there. So is it because Callum McGregor's now retired that McLean is always going to get a game now because he's been there the longest? Because surely it goes based on ability. Because I'm not being funny, but I think that Ryan or even the guys I've spoke about, surely they will be on a same level as McLean. I know he's been there the longest and he scored a penalty to get us to the Euros, but there's only so much in the bank that you can use. You know what I mean? Ryan Gold was in the MLS Team of the Year. This was a guy that's flown all the way for Canada to be involved, and I'm just, I don't know what it is, Graham. I just really, really want someone else to come in and freshen up. I think it's now came at that point, but I might be saying different after the game if we go away with a 2-0 victory against Portugal. But I just want somebody to inspire us. And to me, do you know what it smacks of? To me, Graham, it smacks of Steve Clarke being very, very arrogant to me that he's thought, well, I'm going to play the same guys again. Well, wow, explain to me how. Because as soon as Kenny McLean went off the park, we got better. As soon as Hanley went off, as soon as Grant causes the game, everybody across social media was saying that Grant and McLean just won the up to it, and then he goes and plays him again. I'm just like, it just doesn't make any sense.
Good evening to Az. Lino, hope we don't get hammered tonight. So do I. But if anyone's not seen the team news, it's not long been out, and it is exactly the same team that were beaten by Poland on Thursday. So there's no changes. I mean, Robbie, if you look at Thursday, for example, now actually Steve Clarke said this on Thursday after the game, and I remember saying this. He actually said that the changes that he made to freshen up made a difference. So in that case, if you're making the changes that have made a difference, why then are these folk that came on and made the difference, i.e. Ben Doak, Ryan Gauld, Lawrence Shankland, not starting tonight? Why are you rewarding, and let's be honest, because it is, why are you rewarding failure? Because that's what it is.
That's it. I mean, I'd love someone after the game to speak to Clark and ask him that exact question, because I think you're the one out of the whole of Scotland that knows the answer to that, is Steve Clark, because we all sitting here, we don't have a clue what he's doing. But I remember the question I wanted to ask you guys just about the Poland game, and I think with that first goal, I don't want to keep bringing it back up, but I think if you have a player in there like Callum McGregor who can dominate a midfield, we don't concede that first goal, because if you look at how open that midfield is, I think McGregor has bodies in there that are protecting the net. So, that just shows you how big a player he is. But I'd love to see someone ask Steve for that exact question.
If anyone on the chat's got the Portuguese team, let us know, because I'm actually fearing now for what this could be.
I think the problem is with Scotland is, Robbie, that if you look at the midfielders that we've got Billy, McTominay and Kenny McLean, right? The three of the midfielders, they're not about tackling. They're all about on the ball and trying to score goals. See McGregor and Ferguson and people like that. They're players that are kind of will put a tackle in, will try and ruffle the feathers of the opposition. But the problem I've got is the same thing that Graham said there. Well, see all three of the midfielders, all of them do the same job. All of them play the ball forwards and back the way. They don't try and put a tackle in. And of course, people of Scotland are going to be like, oh, well, let's try and have a go. But we know for the majority of this game, we're probably going to be behind the ball, trying to stifle them. And you need people that are going to tackle and jockey their man. And I don't really see that in the midfield that we've picked.
The thing I would say,
100%.
Sorry, Rob, I was going to say the positive thing we're going to take out the game is, again, Billy Gilmore starts. Now, I think Billy Gilmore is an absolutely fantastic player. He's now going to play in Italy with Napoli. I think he's the one player in that team that can get on the ball, try and move the ball. He makes the right pass. We're not going to have a lot of the ball tonight. When we get it, we've got to keep it and use it well. And I think the one player in that midfield that can actually do that is him. Now, apparently someone in the chat has said that there's no Ronaldo tonight. So Jota, Neto and Leao. So there's no Ronaldo tonight, apparently, which is good news for us.
So that's all of the 6 goals we're considering.
Sorry, Graham, I've got the Portuguese team here. It's Costa in goal, Semedo, Ruben Diaz, Silva, Mendes. The midfield is a strong one. It's Bernardo Silva, Fernandes and Palhinha of Bayern Munich. And then the front three is Pedro Neto, Diego Jota and Leao. So, yep.
Ronaldo on the bench?
I'll tell you in 2 seconds' time. Yep, he's on the bench. The benches for Scotland and Portugal is Diego Dallo, João Felix, João Neves, Raul Neves, Cristiano Ronaldo, Jose Sa, and Santos. For Scotland, it's quite a decent bench. Tommy Conway, Ben Doak, Josh Doig, Ryan Gauld, Max Johnson, Lewis Morgan, Porteous, Shankland, John Suter, and Conor Barron and Xander Clark. So,
see, clearly Roberto Martinez is feeling sorry for us, and he's benched Ronaldo, thinking, I don't really need him in this game. It's absolutely fine. Grant Hanley starting. We can start whatever we want.
I tell you what it is, Graham, it's because he's got a Scottish wife. She's probably told him. She's probably phoned him and said, "Look, Roberto, I know that you want to play your strongest team, but can you just not play Ronaldo tonight?"
Here's a bit of Scottish trivia, and people will probably know this in the chat. Roberto Martinez played for a Scottish Premier League team. Who was it?
Dundee United?
Nope.
Oh, I know that. It's they're quite somebody in the show supports them. You got it, Robbie?
No, I've not got a clue.
I'll give you a clue, Robbie.
Sorry.
He doesn't like Liam Kelly.
Shengus. I just said Said the team.
Oh, so he played with Celtic.
No, he doesn't. The
No.
guy that's on our show doesn't like Liam Kelly.
Who doesn't like Liam Kelly in the show? Oh, I don't know.
He supports the same club.
I'm completely lost. I know, right? So I just don't know who it is.
Stephen. He played for Motherwell.
Motherwell.
Oh, Stephen doesn't like Liam Kelly, really?
So Roberto Martinez played for Motherwell years and years ago, when Motherwell were in administration trouble. Maybe Roberto Martinez is thinking of his Scottish heritage and thinking, let's just not play Ronaldo. We don't need him. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what to. I'm stunned the fact he's not made any changes tonight. So Robbie, let's try and talk positively. What can Scotland do tonight? Now, there's no Ronaldo, which is great for us. What can Scotland do tonight that will give us a little bit of positivity? Let's just, for example, we lose the game, because that'll probably happen. What can we do tonight that would actually say, right, okay, Steve Clark can still stay in this?
Go out and show a bit of fight. Just show some passion. That it's these. I think Martinez was actually saying. I think I read one of his interviews, and he was saying that we can have our key moments. We've just been caught out the last few games with some late goals. So if we can go and show some fight and show that we believe in Clark and we believe in the system that he's playing, that we can go out and get something for this game, then if we only lose a good 2-0, but we'll show a good fight, that'll be positive enough for me. But it's going to be really difficult. I think we need to defend really well. As you guys have said already, when we get the ball, we need to keep it and make things happen with it. We can't just waste it. But it's easier said than done. And I think this might be the game where majority of fans will turn on Clark, because I'm sorry, but I really can't see this being a low number scoreline tonight.
Reagan, what about you? What are you hoping to see from Scotland tonight?
I'm hoping that we can get a draw or even a 1-0 defeat where we played well. But do I think we'll get it? No, and I think that the big thing for me as well is, we need to remember that, of course, Steve Clark's made the team hard to beat and stuff like that over a period of 5 years and that, I get it. But he needs to also take some accountability for what's happening. He turned up at the Euros and he said everybody he speaks to said positive things about it. Well, I don't know who he spoke to. Because...
Rob, on you go, Reagan.
Yeah, I don't know who he's spoken to, because everybody I've spoken to are saying the same thing, that he should have been more positive, because there's no point picking all these players like James Forrest, Ben Doak, Ryan Golden, and going, oh, he's good, it's okay, he'll get 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. No, these guys want to be playing.
Robbie, I know that Portugal's still got a cracking side. You look at that front three, Jota, Neto and Leao. But if I'm a Scotland player and I'm seeing no Ronaldo in their starting lineup, I'm buzzing with that. The fact he's not starting that game.
Grant Hanley will be in the changing room with a disco light on, blasting some music for Ronaldo tonight. But no, I mean, the worry for me is that midfield, because Reagan said it, and we've got midfield players that don't like getting on the ball. So this is a game where they're not going to be in the ball a lot, because it'll be the flip side. It'll be the Portuguese midfield a lot on the ball, and we don't have that tackling player in there that likes getting the fit in and slide tackling and stuff. So my worry tonight is that the Portuguese midfield just run over our midfield, and we know what Bernardo Silva can do with the ball at his feet, for example. We know how technically gifted he is. So I'm really, really worried tonight for our midfield. But 100%, I mean, the defence will be delighted that Ronaldo's not starting. But it's still a strong Portuguese attack, so it'll still be a hard job for them.
I think what Robbie's saying there, they'll be delighted that Ronaldo's not starting, but the Portuguese will be delighted that we're going to Grant Hanley and Angus Gunn at the back.
Very good point. I mean, to be fair, Reagan, I mean, Robbie mentioned some names there, and I actually think, now, yeah, the midfield is important, but I actually think Bernardo Silva is a cracking player. We have to get hold of him.
Brilliant. He's brilliant, he's the silver lining, you know what I mean? He's a silver lining. He's a silver lining to that team. No, but I don't know what you guys think for a prediction, but what's your prediction for the match? What are you thinking?
1-0 Scotland, Grant Hanley header, 90th minute. Sure, she's the fans.
If that happens, I'm coming on here to sincerely apologise.
To be honest,
No,
I've already said 4-0 Portugal.
I'll say 5-1 to Portugal.
Yeah, but we'll be lucky to keep it below 5, I think.
I don't want to be negative, but I'm going to have to say this. Let's just say, for example, first 10 minutes, right? First 10 minutes, Grant Hanley makes a mistake that leads to the goal. What does that do for him? What does that do for his confidence? That yet again,
get him on the first flight back. Get him on the first flight home. If Grant Hanley makes a mistake in the first 10 minutes, he cannot stay in that park.
Reagan?
He can stay on the pub, but I don't think Martelli will be doing well. It might be smashed up if he's no, but I think in general, Graham, you made a lot of good points tonight in terms of that, and I think as well that we also need to remember that if Grant Hanley's not playing well, right, then surely the manager must see that and go, right, well, but have you got the faith in him, Graham, that even if Grant Hanley makes a mistake after 10 minutes, that he would change it up? I think he would say look at
This is the thing as well with Steve Clarke, right? And I still wouldn't sack him. I think he's done a good job. But my worry for me about Steve Clarke is, and he did it at the Euros as well, and he does it pretty much every week. He did it again on Thursday. He makes changes far too late. And that's my worry again tonight. If he's going to bring on, if we're 4-0 down and he brings on Shankland, Coleman that in the 70th minute, I mean, there's no point in that. What are you doing with that?
No, I think you're bang on, Graham. It's like trying to run with a car that's 10 years old. If it's not working properly, don't try and bring it on with everything falling off of the wheels and all that. You know what I mean? Might as well just bring on some young players like Doig and all that. You know, because that's a question I want to ask you guys as well. Like, see people like Doig and all that, and Max Johnson, right? People keep saying, "Oh, it's a great experience for them to go away with Scotland," but they're also big. There's also a time where these guys get bored of just going there to. Oh, I'm going. It's great to be around the camp. It's great to be around at breakfast and see them doing the quiz. Now, what actually am I doing here? I think that's also a thing for Scotland players as well, is we don't want to become where everybody turns up and we know who's going to be playing and who's not. We want it to be that, see when these guys turn up to Hampden, everybody goes, well, if I can show the manager, then I've got a perfectly good chance. It's not a case where if I've got no chance because I don't know, because look, Diggs is Steve Clarke's pal, and I've got no chance because even though I've scored 10 goals for Aberdeen, say it's in Nisbet, you know, because I'm looking at Nisbet, right, and I'm thinking to myself, that's a guy that's doing well for Aberdeen at the moment, Graham, right? And he could score again the weekend, and then what happens? So what happens the next international camp when he turns up there and say Diggs has scored no goals, but he scored 5, but then Diggs still plays ahead of him? I just don't understand Steve Clarke's logic behind this stuff.
About a minute to go. Robbie, we've heard the team news. We weren't confident before the game. Now we've seen the team news. I'm even less confident now after that.
Yeah, I'm really worried for tonight, but, you know, we just need to show some positivity. And look, I remember going to the Denmark game where we won 2-0, and I just remembered the whole positivity in the stands and after the game, especially when Adam scored the second goal. And I've not seen positivity like that since that type of game. It's been so long, and I just worry that tonight, you know, if Portugal get an early goal tonight, we are in a big bit of bother tonight.
As Lino says again and again, I can never understand why Clarke doesn't try Dykes and Shanks up front. They're too similar. They're both very physical. There's not a lot of pace in that. He's never going to play 2 up front. He just won't do it. That's not the thing that Steve Clarke does.
No.
To be honest, not a lot of teams play 2 up front anymore. It's always like 4-2-3-1, or they don't play 4-4-2. Never happens anymore.
Yep, I just hope Steve Clark's not making that road for his back tonight at 1 minute to 7, Graham, because I hope that Steve Clark does well. I hope Scotland do well, but I just feel as if Steve Clark's making a rod for his own back every single time.
Well, that's us. Time is up on our first hour. We will be back at 10 o'clock, hopefully talking about a famous Scotland win, but I'm not confident. So, yeah, thank you as always to
Come on,
Reagan and
Scotland.
Robert for joining us tonight. We'll be
Come on,
back on at 10
Scotland.
o'clock. Come on, Scotland. Let's try and get a result. Let's get a bit of positivity.
Come on, the
And
Grant Hanley.
come on, Hanley. 1-0 Scotland, Grant Hanley header. See you, folks. See you at 10 o'clock.
All the build-up and reaction to Scotland in the Nations League.